Some stories begin with a whisper, others with a roar. This one started with a growl, a sound that echoed through the cold concrete halls of the city animal shelter, sending shivers down the spines of even the bravest volunteers. In kennel number 17, behind thick metal bars, lived a dog named Brutus. His name suited him, a massive, scarred German shepherd with a deep chest and a stare that could freeze you in your tracks. Brutus had been at the shelter longer than any other dog. His intake card was marked in bold red letters. Aggressive, use caution. Most days, he paced his small enclosure, hackles raised, teeth bared at anyone who dared approach. The staff whispered about his past rumors of abuse, of nights spent chained in a junkyard, of fights he never asked for but could never escape. No one knew the full story, but everyone agreed on one thing. Brutus was dangerous. Potential adopters would pause at his kennel, drawn by his striking appearance, only to flinch back when he lunged at the bars. "He's too far gone," they'd say, shaking their heads. Some dogs just can't be saved. And so, day after day, Brutus watched as families walked past, choosing friendlier faces, leaving him behind in the shadows. He became a fixture, a ghost haunting the shelter, his chances of a forever home dwindling with every growl. Was this all that was left for him? Was he truly a lost cause? But fate has a way of bringing together the most unlikely souls. On a rainy Thursday afternoon, Officer Maria Lopez arrived at the shelter. She was there on official business, a call about a missing pet in the neighborhood. But as she walked the rows of kennels, her eyes kept drifting to Brutus. There was something in his posture, something behind the bravado, that tugged at her heart. She didn't just see a warning label. She saw a story waiting to be told. At the same time, another visitor rolled through the shelter doors. His name was Jack Turner, a retired Marine and a decorated veteran. Jack's wheelchair was battered, his hands calloused from years of hard living. He'd lost more than just the use of his legs in the war. He'd lost friends, purpose, and sometimes hope. But he hadn't lost his love for dogs. He knew what it was like to be judged by your scars, to have people see only the damage and not the person underneath. Jack and Maria met right there, at Brutus's kennel, both drawn by the same unexplainable pull. The staff warned them, as they always did. "He's not safe. He's unpredictable. Please be careful." But neither Jack nor Maria turned away. They stood their ground, their gazes steady. They looked past the snarling, the scars, and the reputation. They saw a dog who had been hurt, abandoned, and misunderstood, a dog who, perhaps, was not so different from themselves. While the rest of the world saw a monster, they saw a survivor. And as they stood there, something shifted. The air grew still. Brutus stopped pacing. His growl softened, ever so slightly. It was a moment that could change everything. What happened next would not only challenge everything the shelter believed about Brutus, but would also reveal a stunning truth that would shock everyone who thought they knew what aggressive really meant. The story of Brutus is a powerful reminder that looks can be deceiving, and that sometimes the most broken souls just need someone to see past their defenses. This isn't just about one dog. It's about the power of compassion, second chances, and the incredible bond between humans and animals. What do you think happened when Jack and Maria decided not to walk away? Stay tuned for the rest of this incredible journey. You won't want to miss how one dangerous dog became a hero. At the back of the shelter, in a cold kennel, lived Brutus. To most, he was a lost cause. Scars marked his body, a testament to a brutal past, likely as a guard dog, maybe even a fighter. His growls were a wall, his bared teeth a clear warning. Stay away. The shelter manager, Mrs. Green, had tried everything. Treats, trainers, specialists, nothing worked. Brutus wouldn't let anyone in. Maria knelt by his kennel, her voice a soft melody against the harsh sounds of the shelter. "Hey, big guy. I'm not here to hurt you." She saw not a monster, but a soul drowning in fear. Beside her, Jack watched from his wheelchair. As a veteran, he knew fear. He'd seen it in the eyes of soldiers, and he recognized it now in Brutus, the tense muscles, the desperate search for an escape. Maria had an idea, a simple one. Has anyone tried just sitting with him? No expectations, no pressure, just being there? The manager admitted no one had dared. Jack's voice was quiet but firm. "Mind if I give it a shot?" With a trembling hand, Mrs. Green unlocked the kennel. Jack rolled inside, positioning his chair in the far corner. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just sat, a calm, steady presence. Brutus circled, growling, his distrust a palpable force in the small space. Jack remained still, his breathing even. Outside, rain began to drum against the roof, a rhythmic beat in the tense silence. Slowly, the growling subsided. Brutus stopped pacing. He sniffed the air, then took a cautious step forward. Jack's voice was barely a whisper. "It's okay, buddy. I know what it's like to be scared. I know what it's like to be hurt." Something in his words, in his stillness, seemed to reach the terrified dog. Brutus crept closer, his body still tense, until his wet nose nudged Jack's hand. It was a tiny gesture, but it was everything. For the first time anyone could remember, Brutus wagged his tail. Over the next few days, Jack and Maria became his constant companions. They didn't push. They brought treats, toys, and an endless supply of patience. They sat with him, talked to him, and let him heal at his own pace. The change was remarkable. The growls faded, replaced by gentle nuzzles. He'd chase a tennis ball, his tail a blur of happiness. But whispers followed them down the shelter halls. Some volunteers couldn't see past the scars. "He's just waiting to snap," they'd mutter. "It's only a matter of time." Jack and Maria ignored them. They knew the truth. Brutus wasn't a monster. He was a survivor. And fear, they believed, could be healed with love. Just when it seemed like Brutus was finally safe, finally ready to trust the world again, a new challenge appeared on the horizon. This one threatened to undo all their progress and uncover a secret that would change all of their lives forever. What could possibly stand in the way of his new beginning? It was a Saturday morning, just as the shelter opened its doors for the day. Suddenly, a commotion erupted in the lobby. There was shouting and then the sharp sound of something crashing to the floor. Maria, who had just arrived to walk Brutus, felt her heart pound as she rushed to see what was happening. She found a man, his face red with anger, arguing fiercely with Mrs. Green. He yelled, pointing a trembling finger at Brutus's kennel, "That's my dog. You have no right to keep him here." Maria immediately stepped between them, her voice firm but calm. "Sir, please calm down. Can you explain what's going on?" The man glared at her. "Brutus is mine. He was stolen from me months ago. I want him back." Mrs. Green shook her head, her expression pained. "We found Brutus abandoned, chained up in a junkyard. He had no collar, no microchip. We spent weeks trying to find his owner, but no one ever came forward." The man's eyes narrowed into slits. "He's a guard dog. He's supposed to be aggressive. That's what I trained him for." A chill ran down Maria's spine. She glanced over at Brutus, who was cowering in the very back of his kennel, his entire body trembling. Just then, Jack rolled up in his wheelchair, his face hard as stone. "You abused him, didn't you? You made him fight, made him fear people." The man sneered back. "He's a tool, not a pet. He does what he's told." Hearing this, Maria's hands clenched into fists. "You are not getting him back," she said, her voice filled with a quiet fury. The man lunged forward, but Jack blocked his path with his chair. "You want to hurt him again? You'll have to go through me first." The shelter staff had already called the police, who arrived within minutes. The man was escorted out, shouting threats and curses as he was led away. Through it all, Brutus just watched, his eyes wide with a deep, familiar fear. After the man was finally gone, the shelter fell silent. Maria and Jack went to Brutus, sitting with him, whispering soothing words of comfort. Slowly, very slowly, his trembling began to ease. He pressed his head into Jack's lap, desperately seeking reassurance. Maria wiped tears from her eyes. "You're safe now, Brutus," she whispered. "He'll never hurt you again." The police launched an investigation, and it didn't take long to uncover evidence of horrific animal abuse and illegal dogfighting. The man was arrested, and Brutus was officially and permanently released into the shelter's care. But the ordeal had taken a heavy toll. Brutus withdrew completely, retreating into a shell of fear. He stopped eating. He stopped playing. He stopped trusting anyone. He was a ghost of the dog they had started to know. But Jack refused to give up on him. He visited every single day, just sitting in Brutus's enclosure in silence, offering his steady, patient presence. Maria brought Brutus's favorite toys, trying to coax him into even a moment of play. The healing process was slow and painful. Then one afternoon, as Jack sat in the sunlit yard, Brutus cautiously approached him. His eyes searched Jack's face. He then rested his heavy head on Jack's knee and let out a long, shuddering sigh, as if releasing years of pain. Jack stroked his fur, tears streaming down his own face. "You're not broken, Brutus," he whispered. You're brave. You survived. Maria knelt beside them, her voice gentle and full of love. You're not aggressive, she added softly. You're just scared. And we're here for you. For the very first time since that terrible day, Brutus looked at them, and his eyes weren't filled with fear. They were filled with a glimmer of hope. Brutus's journey shows that with patience and love, even the deepest wounds can begin to heal. In the weeks that followed, Brutus and Jack's bond grew stronger with every small victory. Brutus, once filled with fear, was learning to trust again, to play, and most importantly, to love. He became Jack's shadow, his loyalty as solid as a rock. Seeing this incredible transformation, Maria knew what she had to do. She officially adopted Brutus, welcoming him into her family forever. From that day on, Jack and Brutus were an inseparable team. They started visiting local schools where Jack would share their story, teaching kids about kindness, empathy, and the importance of not judging a book by its cover. They also became regulars at the animal shelter, volunteering their time to help other dogs, just like Brutus, find their own loving homes. Brutus's story spread like wildfire through the town. He became a local hero. The same people who once crossed the street to avoid him now stopped to give him a gentle pet, offer him a treat, or just to thank him for his incredible courage. Maria watched this all unfold with a heart full of pride. She saw Brutus blossom, the physical and emotional scars fading away, replaced by a spirit that shone brightly for all to see. In a way, she knew he had saved her too, reminding her of the profound power of patience, unconditional love, and the beauty of second chances. Jack found a new purpose in life. His days, once quiet and lonely, were now filled with the sound of Brutus's happy barks and the warmth of their unwavering companionship. They were a team ready to face the world together, their bond forged in the battles they had overcome. And what about Brutus? He was no longer just the aggressive dog from Kennel 17. He was a survivor. He was a hero. He was a best friend. If this story touched your heart, please show some love by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Always remember, sometimes the souls that seem the most broken are the ones who need our love the most. If you give them a chance, they just might change your life forever. Because every single one of us, human or animal, deserves a second chance. And every heart, no matter how scarred, has the capacity to heal and learn to trust again. Thank you for watching.